Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, I am joined by attorney Aaron Morris. How you doing today, Aaron?
I am so good.
You glad to be here today?
Yeah, I am. It was really nice to get out of the house, so that was nice.
Oh, so you're still getting out of the house?
Yeah, on occasion to come here, a bike ride.
Oh my God, I have been biking like crazy the past few weeks, and my legs are killing me.
That's awesome.
But it is a good workout, and it is a good way to, like you said, get out of the house.
Yeah, and feel like you went out and did something, and you're not just sitting all day.
Mm-hmm.
I found I had a few of those days where I'm like, wow, I spent the whole day sitting. I had to readjust my work from home laptop and information, and they so that I could stand for a portion of my day.
Gotcha.
I think I have like just a kitchen stand that I put my laptop on.
On our previous Q&A, you had mentioned that you are now doing the homeschooling.
Not charged.
It's not charged?
Gonna die.
Oh no.
Laptop is gonna die and you're gonna lose me.
Are we good now?
I don't know. Perhaps. Yeah, seems all right.
Seems good now? Okay, perfect.
So yeah, we are.
Okay, so we've been homeschooling my 8-year-old son, who is very, very bright. He does a really good job at school, and I have no reason to claim that. But it's definitely, little bits of interruptions throughout the day, making efficiency or getting, my typical like 3-hour span of just cranking out work done. Is not quite happening.
So yeah, being able to balance homeschooling and the firm all at the same time must be tough.
Yeah, it gets frustrating, and I'm really trying to put my son in a position where I'm not like yelling at him for existing. Right. I keep trying to remind myself he's used to going to school and having a chance to go outside and yell like a madman and play tag and freeze tag and whatever else they decide to play, and it's getting him back to being focused on school. I'm like, hey buddy, I don't think your homework's over there. So that happens often.
So we're there we go. All right. Everyone in the Facebook, are we can you hear us?
If you can't hear us, let us know. Feel free to just comment on that.
Broke the fourth wall and switcheroo. Yeah, right there, Alexis saying, broke the fourth wall and that switcheroo. Sorry about that, guys. Well, hold on. I don't know who broke the fourth wall.
It was me.
Oh, it was you? I never understood that term.
You don't? So it's the idea is that when a person is performing on a live stage, there are 3 walls, right? Because this wall that has the camera is open, right? Mm-hmm. There's no wall. It's not an actual room.
Oh, okay.
So, but the idea is that 4th wall isn't actually people watching them because they're acting. So you break the 4th wall that doesn't really exist because it's theoretical by saying, and all you viewers at home, right? That's the breaking of the 4th wall.
That makes a lot more sense, and I wish I would have understood that joke when I kept hearing it over and over again my entire life. But yeah, let's get a quick someone let us know on the live chat if the audio is coming in nice and clear.
Okay.
And waiting on just one comment. One comment would be amazing right now.
I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Let's go. Go for it.
Let's go for it.
You know what? If y'all don't want to comment,
What is okay? So with balancing the firm and balancing homeschooling, like what's your one escape?
I am a little bit of a homebody. I love my job and I love what I do. So I don't, and I'm not saying that I don't get stressed, and I'm not saying that I don't know that I need to unplug and recharge, because, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. So
Yeah.
I know that. So I don't, I have to confess that I don't really have that particular feeling of like dread and overwhelming, and I'm not getting to do what I like to do or what I'm interested in. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because everybody looks at me funny when I say it. But becoming a lawyer and the law really, really, really was an incredible passion of mine. I was really dedicated to it. When I was in law school, I began law school when my son was 5 months old.
Oh wow.
So that obviously meant that during the day, because my husband had to work, my husband worked, and I took care of our son, and then I went to law school part-time in the evenings.
Ooh.
So I didn't really have any me time, and I didn't know it at the time, because you don't get a ton of guidance when you start law school. They're just like, here are your assignments, and before even you step foot on campus, you already have to have read, 400 pages and then do a case brief, and they don't teach you how to do it. They're just like, okay, and you'll answer a question.
Like, figure it out.
Yeah, and if you don't get it right, you're gonna go, that was wrong.
Oh my God.
Shame on you. And who else might know?
I just had a realization, because like I've worked with other attorneys before.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would get that, like, the figure it out thing.
Yeah.
So is that like derivative from like you have to deal with it in law school?
It's the Socratic method. The idea that you have the knowledge and I want to pull it out of you. Right. So, it's this call.
And having the resources to find said
right.
information.
And the idea is you have this book, the answers are in this book. So if you have a little bit of logic and understanding and you do the reading, you'll come up with the answer, because that's really what you have to do as a lawyer. The laws merely exist, and they're like, okay, now present your case. Right. And if you don't look at the laws plus the rules of procedure and the rules of judicial administration, and then the local rules, and then the judge's procedure, you can't move forward with that. Right. So it's a lot of like, go figure it out, because if you don't have that skill, when something comes up that changes, for example, COVID-19, you aren't capable of handling that. And that's our job. We're the fixers. So my stepdad used to always bring up to me during law school, what do you do for yourself? What makes you happy? What do you do to make sure that you unplug from being Erin the law student, Erin the mom, and Erin the wife? Like, you're a person and you get to be just a person by yourself. And it sounds sad now that I'm saying it, but it didn't feel like this. And I'm like, I enjoy going to law school, and I felt a lot like law school was like my me time. That was my chance to like go and be intellectual, and it was my chance to go and pursue something that I found interesting. I like school. I like getting those things done. So I remember being sad towards the end of my law school career, because I got an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree, and then I went to law school. And I remember saying to my husband, I was like, what am I going to do when I'm not in school? And he,
being a freaking lawyer.
Yeah, he was like, you'll have CLEs, you'll have education things. I'm like, it's not over. Like, my education can't be over.
So your escape is learning.
Right. So I do learning and developing, right? So working on my policies and procedures is a big thing that I love to do. And, making this kind of stuff, like, I find this fun. This was a fun thing for me, right? Do
you think having that mentality is the reason why the dropout rate is so high in law school the first year?
Yes and no. And I think, again, no one gives you any guidance on what law school looks like, what they're going to do, what it's going to be like. And you get to law school and they're like, well, figure it out. So, and then you're reading this material that's incredibly dry. Now, I don't enjoy reading for pleasure. I really only find that I want to read in volume if I have a point. So I'm looking at every paragraph going, what's the point? what am I supposed to take away from this? What's my rule?
Mhm.
So briefing cases is very easy for me because I'm like, what do you mean by, like, what is this supposed to mean?
Yeah.
I find that I read emails that way, that like I don't need a story. So every time I open up a recipe on someone's blog
Mhm.
and they put their life story before it, oh my God, I'm unreasonably infuriated by that. I'm like, I don't give a shit what the weather was. How do I make shepherd's pie?
Kevin says iGarden, great way to unplug, slowly gets better and better. Hopefully those tomatoes are coming in nice, Kevin.
Yeah.
But you ready to dive in on some of the questions we got?
Yeah.
We're trying out a new format, and hopefully it does appeal better than what we were using beforehand. This makes it a lot more interactive with our guests, and we're able to show your questions as they're coming in on the stream. I don't know why stream just sounded weird to me right there, but let's go.
The world is weird right now.
It is super weird. Before we jump into it, I've been biking more and riding at nighttime,
Mhm.
and riding through downtown Orlando is so eerie
It must be.
because no bar is open, restaurants are closed, or some of them are open with the takeout, the takeout or delivery options. And it was actually last night when I was riding up Magnolia towards the courthouse.
Yeah.
And I started just whistling, and then I could hear the echo. So of course I take advantage of that and just start screaming out nonsensical crap. And it was just eerie that no one was there to be like, what?
Carol Baskin did it. Oh, they it's worth mentioning. I guess I didn't finish that thought that you were asking me like, what do I do for myself? I enjoy time with my son. So one of the me time things that we've been doing as a family, I like family time. I like families, right? So I do
Mhm.
family law because I want, not because I don't believe in marriage, but because I do. But you can't be in a good marriage if you don't get out of one that's exceedingly bad. And
Going back to that pancake theory we posted
Right.
earlier this week.
Exactly. And it's the idea that children shouldn't feel like just because you took a long time making a mistake doesn't mean you should stay committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my family time is really important to me, and I like that. So the thing that we're doing right now is I looked up all of the DC Comics movies,
Okay.
only starting in like 1989, right? I didn't go much further.
Yeah. Okay.
back than that.
Good year to start. Good year to
Yeah,
start.
the 70s, I feel like my 8-year-old son, I just wouldn't be able to get him on board with
So are you doing the Christopher Reeves Superman?
it. No,
No.
too old, right? And the POW, like it ends up being a little bit more cheesy.
Okay.
Especially because he's seen the newer stuff, right? You can't go from the Avengers to like
Yeah. So you can see the wire as he's flying through the city.
Yeah, like that just seems like it wouldn't keep his attention. So we started with the 1989 Batman.
Ooh, Jack Nicholson. Nice.
Yes. So we started there. But we're up to Batman Returns.
Okay.
So, but that's the thing that we do is on the weekends we'll watch one or two of them in a day, right? We got nowhere to go. And in between riding the bike and walking the dog.
Who's your favorite Batman? If you don't mind me asking.
Okay, this one's hard for me to answer
Okay.
because and you gotta let me finish because
All
it's
right.
an unpopular opinion. I love Ben Affleck because I am from
Good night,
Boston.
everybody.
Yeah. I know he wasn't a good Batman.
No, okay. I'll let you finish, but the one thing I'll say, he wasn't a good Batman, but he was an amazing Bruce Wayne.
Right. The thing is I like him. He is a hometown hero.
Okay.
So he's one of those people that just because I like him so much, I have friends who know him. I have people I'm from like a really small town. I'm actually from a village next to a town. That is the town I identify with, right? So whatever. But a really small town in Massachusetts. He visited our very small town.
Aww.
And we all still talk about
I'm sorry
it, right?
for saying.
I know. It's like, oh, that's exactly what it was like. So, and he was great. He's nice. He's kind. He was really interested in kind of,
The community.
Yeah, he just is an all around
Cool dude.
Yeah, but he's also like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, he's not wimpy, or he's not, you know what I mean? He still has that like air of coolness about him.
Mhm.
I'm just a fan of his.
Okay.
So I can't help the fact that I like him. I understand that not a great Batman, wasn't the perfect person for that, but I like him. So with that being said, he is not my favorite Batman, but I love him.
Okay.
Right? So my love for him stands. I
Gotcha.
stand behind that.
Fair and valid
Okay.
statement right there.
So my favorite one was the Batman Begins. Oh my God.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Okay.
Liked him. It was dark. I love the way he acted, and in rewatching though, this is fun. It was a fun thing.
Mhm.
He just acted like he doesn't give a fuck. Like that was his version of Batman, especially in the beginning.
Not giving a fuck as Bruce Wayne, or not giving a fuck as Batman, or just an actor in general.
Just both. Like that's how his portrayal of Batman, because as Bruce Wayne, the way that he got everybody out of that party when
Mhm.
Liam Neeson, who I also love, he cannot
Great
do any
actor.
wrong. And even as a villain, I'm like, he's great. He ended up, you know, he told everybody, I don't like you. You're all freeloaders. Get out of my house.
Mhm.
But because the Liam Neeson as the villain
Yeah.
was going to, you know, put
Yep.
the gas in the house. So instead of telling everybody like something's happening, panic and run, he insulted them all because that didn't matter.
Mhm.
He didn't give a fuck. And he was like, it was more important for these people to be safe and to leave the house quickly because they were insulted
Yeah.
than it was for me to be like, I'm here to save you. Because he could have portrayed that.
He could have.
That he's a good guy, that there's a villain and they want to do this bad thing to you. So I'm saving you, and please go and love me and be sympathetic to me as a victim.
It's
He
a
didn't.
great way right there to separate Batman from Bruce Wayne, because like you at that point you can't put two and two together,
Right.
because Bruce Wayne is kicking everyone out. Oh, Batman came in and saved Bruce Wayne, kind of thing.
Exactly. So he portrayed that, and you know, at a point in that particular series of Batman, he became like, if Gotham needs me to be a villain,
Mhm.
and they need to do that to fix whatever it is,
I
I'll
always,
be the villain.
I always get the words mixed
Love
up.
it.
Like I'm the hero that they need, or just
Yeah, not the one they want.
not the one they need, but the one they need.
Yeah. So in some ways, I like to think of myself that way.
As Batman.
No, as the kind of person, like I'm not going to give you just whatever you want.
Mhm.
I would tell any of my clients at any time, like, your hard truth. You're not going to like it, but you would much rather hear it from me in the confidentiality of this office than a judge who's going to have consequences for it.
So, okay, now this makes more sense. It's not the information you want, but the information you need.
So
Beautiful.
basically, I'm Batman.
You're Batman. Let's jump into it. Okay, first question. Here we go. What can I do if my fiance had a stroke and her parents will not let me see her after 3 months? You're good. You're good.
So your fiance had it and you're not married, and the parents won't let you see her. What can you do? Repair the relationship with her parents. You don't have any legal rights. That's why, you know, I understand that people want to be, this goes back to my theory that marriage is a good thing, right? Because you have no rights to anything. If she dies and you guys own a home together, once she passes away, you now own the home with her and her parents, with you and her parents.
Have you ever been in a situation where your significant other's parents didn't like you?
Me?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think like nobody likes me. They just deal with me, right? That they're just like, she'll cause too much of a problem if we confront her. But yeah, I have. My late husband, his mom, I don't believe that she liked me.
Mhm.
But she was always professional and kind and workable. So
Out of
I
respect
don't know,
for
very
for-
respectful. Not, and you know, it's like that, but not anywhere that we've had like major conflicts.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna be honest, I think they just didn't bring it up to my face. It's also worth noting that the kind of men that I'm attracted to are probably the kind of men that are really even willing to be with me. Are the kind of men who would back me up, and they would otherwise kind of make it clear to their family that if, you know, you don't play nicely in the sandbox,
Mhm.
there's going to be problems. Also, I try my best to be respectful. They still are my significant other's family.
Yeah.
And we don't get to change that. So I really let them guide the relationship and try to encourage and build on it because, grandchildren, I have a son, right? Grandchildren, that's important. Even if I don't agree with my in-laws, I will never take children away from them.
That's very admirable of you right there. We got a question actually from the Facebook,
Sweet.
and it's from Kevin. He's like, "Hi, not sure if you answered last week, but with the stimulus money stuff, am able to ask for half of the 500 per disbursement?
Per dependent.
Per dependent.
That $500 is based on whoever claimed the children and taxes. So there are issues that are arising over the stimulus check. So for example, people who are remarried, if there's a situation where one parent has considerable arrearages and you file jointly with your spouse, but it's his, child support order out from elsewhere, they're swiping the whole, even though half of it, the 1,200 is for your current spouse, but the whole thing is going to arrearages. So that yes, you could get that back in court. I believe that the courts would support that. It wasn't, the child support's money to take, and the same goes for the $500 dependent amount of money that people are getting. That those were going, and even if they had later born children and that was for their dependents, yes, you could get it back, but attorneys are expensive. How much are you going to spend to do it? I'm not saying you couldn't file the motion yourself, but so that's kind of like asking the question if the IRS tax exemption should be split, right? That when you get your money back,
the 1,200.
Well, no, like ideally that it's for whoever claims the child last year.
Oh, the 500 dependent.
Yeah, the dependency exemption. So if the person who claims the dependent gets the $500, that's what it should be. So, if you didn't claim last year, I think that $500 isn't coming to you because that's what it's based on. So, and the IRS recently removed the ability for the rotating tax dependency if you don't have at least half the year or more. So am I saying that they're going to adjust child support? I mean, are they going to adjust final judgments backwards on that? No. And is the IRS coming and knocking on everybody's door and saying, did you have them for 6 months or more, the child? No. But if there's a conflict, that's how they're going to resolve it. So I think it wouldn't be unfair to ask for it.
Okay, and Kevin actually had a follow-up. We're going to give him this one right here. So if I'm claiming on taxes for this year, am I technically eligible for the whole amount?
Of the taxes that you'll receive this year, because by this year, I believe that what you mean is you're claiming the minor child for the tax year of 2019. So yes, you keep your whole amount. But I don't believe that, I think that $500 should be split. I don't think that we would have legal authority to force them to hand over half. It's worth a try, especially if you rotate your tax exemption. I think that would be exactly the reason it should be split, but you'll pay more in attorney's fees to get it. But if you want to do it pro se, it's a worthwhile endeavor. I think you may have some success on it. But is $250 worth the time and effort? Maybe it is for you. And by the time you get in front of a judge, it sucks. It sucks. This isn't fair. This thing messed with people. And again, so I have a colleague who reached out to me asking for some, just kind of bounce some ideas off of it. And it was the situation that I had mentioned where they're remarried and they got the 2 stimulus checks in their tax return plus $500 for 3 children that they have together. Now he has a considerably large amount of arrearages, and they swiped the whole thing. So I mean, however much that came up to, they got. I went to law school because I don't like doing math. But, 2, 3, yeah, 4, maybe 300 or something like that.
Somewhere around that.
Yeah,
Dang.
that which it isn't her money. It really isn't.
Yeah, it's the kids' money, but right.
Right. But what I think, this is what I think a court in the fact that they're a court of equity would end up doing. You'd file this motion, you'd go through all of this, and then all that would happen is, because the parent who received that money, you know damn well is not going to have that money in cash available at the time of the hearing. So at the time of the hearing, you're not going to be able to adequately identify where that money can come to you immediately, right? So what they're going to do is credit your child support arrearages for it.
So basically, don't fall behind your child support.
Or file separately from your spouse.
There you go, Kevin. Thank you so much for the question.
Good luck. Oh.
Yeah, seriously, good luck on that one, Kevin. So the next one is, go ahead and read this one.
Not here.
Is that there?
No, I don't see it.
Okay. All right, so I'll read it. I have had a termination of parental rights in the past and am now pregnant again. Will this baby be taken at the hospital no matter what?
No.
No?
Uh-uh. Nope.
They won't. So because of, is it because she terminated parental rights for the previous child and now there's a brand new child that she's able to keep the child? Oh, wow.
Because, obviously we don't know the circumstances surrounding the termination of parental rights, right? Was it voluntary? Maybe. Were you underage and did you have a drug problem at that time and now you're clean? They would have to have a whole new set of circumstances that arose or arise at the time of this baby being born. So, if everything is all good and well and perhaps those issues are resolved, and not that this is the situation of this person, but sometimes people's parental rights end up being terminated on moms for a concept that's called failure to protect. And if a good example of this, and again, it's a struggle and it's not one that we intend to be judgmental about, or I don't. So if you are reading this or listening to this with judgment, you can go ahead and mute me for a second. But, in an abusive relationship where the minor child sees the abuse and mom is in a position where she doesn't know how to get out of it. This happens to people, right? People, the first person they look to when someone is murdered is their significant other. There's a reason for that. Domestic violence is a big deal, and it isn't easy. It isn't easy to leave. And there are statistics, don't quote me on this, but I went to some continuing legal education on, injunctions and domestic violence. Typically, a woman cries out 21 times before action is actually taken.
Wow.
So when someone ends up in my office at a point where they believe that they need an injunction or they need some help, I really try to make sure that I consider how far they've had to come to get here. So with that being said, parental rights could be terminated if the abuse of that child was perpetuated by this person who commits domestic violence and mom failed to protect. Now, based on what we know about domestic violence, no, it's not fair. And I think that we need to do a better job at having resources under these circumstances. So with that being said, if this parent, the mom, is no longer in a relationship like that, was able to really fight back and find the strength to do this, then having a child and being able to keep your child is in line with the expectations of the law.
Gotcha.
So no, it's not automatic. Am I saying that they're going to completely be out of your hair depending on your circumstances? No.
Case by case basis, right?
Case by case basis. So, right. So asterisk, it depends. But if that's happening to you, definitely give us a call, because make sure that if your circumstances are different or something like that, that's worth your while.
Thank you for the question. Now, the next one comes up, and I have a prenup, and we have no marital property. He was in a car accident where he will be getting over $1 million. Will that be joint? Now he says he doesn't want to be married till the suit is settling soon. What are your thoughts?
So that's a really good question. So yeah, it will probably be marital. If I were you, I would make sure that you get the paperwork for that. And also, this depends on if you filed for divorce,
Hmm.
like what stage of your divorce are you in? Were you already separated when the accident happened? And since you say he now says he doesn't want to be married, I imagine you haven't begun the divorce process. But it sounds to me like in most scenarios, likely that'll be marital, but there are some scenarios where it's not.
Okay. Well, could you give an example of when a scenario would not?
So if you had already filed for divorce and or separated and the car accident happened after separation,
Hmm.
obviously the event that occurred didn't happen during the marriage, right? So non-marital. In a paternity action, there are ways and reasons that that would not be considered income for the purpose of calculating child support. If they go, for pain and suffering is what they're giving it to you for, versus it being as lost income. Lost income could go towards child support, alimony, etc. But pain and suffering wouldn't, right? Because you don't deserve to be paid for his pain and suffering.
Gotcha.
That's not right.
Thank you so much for that question. The next one, and dang, geez, he just said, he says that, I don't know why I lost my, you know what? I'm going to skip that one. We're good. Let me get rid of that. And the next one is, what could I do about my baby mom? Oh, all right. Let's have some fun with this one. What can I do about my baby moms trying to take my 2 kids out of the state?
File.
We have no court order, but I am an active father. Oh.
File. You have to file as soon as possible. Florida has e-filing. We can do this virtually. It's file. Once you file and she is served, she can't move.
There you go. File, man. File immediately.
Before that time, you have no rights. When you said you have no court order, you have no rights. So that doesn't mean you can't file after she moves.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and we'll help you deal with what jurisdiction looks like.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, even though she's trying to move out of state.
So that is why he should file immediately and have her served, because if he does that before she moves, it's kind of like, stop.
Okay.
Hammer time.
Oh man, baby mama drama. I'm just thankful I don't have that. Knock on wood.
That you know of.
That I know of. Yeah, that I know of. Okay, the next one is, I'm 18 and my girlfriend is 17. Ooh, okay. My girlfriend is 18. No, I'm 18 and my girlfriend is 17, and she insists on moving in with me before she's 18. What could happen to each of us? She lives in Kansas and I live in Florida.
You can't just wait till she's 18. Come on, bro.
It kind of sounds like the girlfriend is insisting to move in before she turns 18.
Do the right thing. Make her wait.
Make her wait?
18. Yeah. Do you
think there's a reason why she's trying to do it before she's 18?
Maybe she was, just because they are your parents doesn't mean they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I could get the sign. It's not illegal to be an asshole. It's not illegal to be a shitty parent, right? It's not. And that's children, the idea is that once you're 18, you spring up and move away. Now, again, I want to say, wait until she's 18. The parents could say that she's been kidnapped because under 18, she's still required to come home, even though she's a runaway. It doesn't sound to me like it would likely result in something extreme. But again, that depends on her parents. What are her parents going to do? Are they very strict? Are they going to come at your door? Are they going to try to arrest you for kidnapping? And what if, all right, hear me out.
Okay.
What if she's still 17, her parents come and do all this stuff, and her response is, he forced me to do it?
Wait till she's 18, bro. Wait.
What do you do? Right? Then you put yourself back in this position. And this isn't really a family law question. This is a little bit more on the criminal side, but I want to give you person to person advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she could change her story again. She's 17 and I am in my 30s, and I know some decisions that I would have made when I was 17 are not the decisions I would make now. Right? What I thought I could or should do or was. Now, am I saying that she's wrong? No. But if forever is your intention, and obviously it is, what's a few months, right?
Exactly.
And especially with this COVID nonsense, right? So don't forget that we're making a mess of the world.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is, what is the best solution to protect my unborn child from the abusive father? We aren't married or together, but he says he will be there to sign the birth certificate and take the child.
You do not have to allow him there. Why don't, when you go, again, this isn't legal advice, this is human being advice. But when you're in the hospital, tell them he's not allowed in. You, as an unwed mother, he has no rights.
And right now with COVID, they're not. I heard that they're not allowing fathers in the delivery room.
Yeah, I don't think so. But tell security, tell the nurses that, you know, he wants to take the child. That would be kidnapping. He has no legal rights to the child. Don't put him on the birth certificate. That can be changed later, right? You can change that later. If he's abusive, what you should do is get an injunction, call the police, make sure that you build up some protections. So when you're in the hospital and you say you have this protective order and he can't come, you know, that again, that's how you protect your unborn child. He has no right to take the child. If you were to take the child, it would be kidnapping.
And you don't want to kidnap.
No,
You do not want to kidnap.
not a baby from a hospital.
It's like a Lifetime movie waiting to happen right there.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is, can I move out at 17 without getting emancipated? And if I cannot, and if not, can I get emancipated without living in an abusive house? Ooh.
Yes, you can get emancipated. I don't typically handle this type of law, but yes, you can get emancipated. There are forms that are available online. And you have to have a showing of how you're going to support yourself.
Okay.
You basically have to be on par with being completely self-sufficient and self-reliant on yourself. So I know that you're 17 right now. We got a lot of youngins asking questions today. And you know, I don't know why you want to get emancipated or what the reason is, but this goes back to that, like, you only have a few months, you know, on the eve of your 18th birthday. Feel free to move out on that day, like set yourself up to go on that day. So your question on, can I move out at 17 without getting emancipated? There's no parent police. So no one is going to come to your house, just like the first 17 years of your life, they've never come to your house and go, is Sally, is she home? Because she's supposed to live here, right? The only time they do that is truancy, which means you're not going to school. So why don't you go to school if you think you can be responsible? School is part of that responsibility. And they, you know, if you move out and your parents agree to it, it's only going to be for a very short period of time. The only people who are going to, you know, buck at you moving out is your parents. However, the other thing that you're going to have to think about is all of the people and entities with whom you need to have contracts with are typically unwilling to allow them to have you to sign a contract when you're under the age of 18. So I'm talking a lease agreement. I'm talking, you know, electric bills. I'm talking water bills. I'm talking getting a car, you know, being employed and working 40 hours, because you're going to need to make sure you work and make enough money to support yourself.
A follower of the show, and I've nicknamed her Nurse Beth, says the mother can have one significant other in the delivery room. The person is her choice. Awesome.
So Nurse Beth is my mom. So Nurse Beth is a nurse locally here in Orlando, and she's been a nurse for a really long time. So I trust her advice. I would literally ignore what a doctor said in certain circumstances, or I would ask my mom before I would go to a brand new doctor. She's been a nurse for so long. She's your
in-home second opinion.
Right, that, and she, you know, she knows once it's at a point where she's like, you need a doctor, right? So that's the advice I ask her. Do I need a doctor or not?
Yeah.
Right? That's typically the advice. Do I need a doctor for a fever? And she's like, you know, the simple example, right? No, take some Advil, right? So if that's what she's a nursing supervisor. So if that's what she's saying that the hospitals are doing, they're allowing one person in there. It sounds unreasonable to me that the person you've been quarantining with anyway couldn't be in the delivery room.
Fair.
Like, how unreasonable? That doesn't even follow logic. But, you know, of course, I don't work in a hospital, but Nurse Beth does. She
Thank
got
you.
it.
Thank you, Nurse Breath. Next one is my ex won't pick up the kids due to the virus. I need some peace and quiet. What can I do?
So, I have a colleague that I know that I trust really well who before COVID, she is willing and often would hold parents in contempt for not exercising their time sharing.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, why? If the parties are, whatever. Every parent always does the tug of war with their children.
Yeah.
So I really asked why, and she's like, no, because first of all, we don't engage in this concept of shared parenting if we're always willing to take the child, right? Also women aren't, I'm assuming it's a woman, that's very sexist of me, but parties, individuals are not furthered in giving examples to their children if they are taking exclusive responsibility. Now, are there circumstances where it happens out of people's control? Yeah, my mom was a single mother. I'm not here to judge that. But when you have a ready, willing, and able co-parent, keeping them from their parent is harmful to the child. So there's no great reason to do it. Now, forcing them to come get their kids, I don't know. You could hold them in contempt to do it. Or, show up at the house and be like, take these.
Your tag, you're it.
Yeah, they're yours, and then run fast. I don't know. Try to work it out with him, but that sounds awful for you, and I hope that this is not representative of what your co-parenting situation looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that the other parent has a good reason. Maybe they are concerned they have corona.
It could be, and it's a fair thing to say that once in a while. You do need your peace and quiet. Your eyes said it all right there.
But hold them in contempt for it so that you can build your case to adjust what child support needs to be. The children would need additional support if you're not sharing in the responsibility.
All right. Thank you so much for the question. Next one. I'm going through a divorce and I filed my taxes with my wife last year. My stimulus check went into her account and she's being a bitch about giving me the funds. Please help.
Equitable distribution. The fact that you're in, this is, I don't want to say best, but I'm gonna.
Okay.
This is the best scenario for trying to figure out and address that money.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you received it means it's joint. And it's an item for equitable distribution and they cannot dissipate it. Does that mean that there's a magic bubble that stops them from dissipating it? No. But it does mean that it's an item for equitable distribution and you are in the best circumstance to make sure that you get that money back because you're going to add it as a line item to your equitable distribution since you're already in the process. So that's how to address that. That's the best scenario for figuring out in what household and how to distribute these two things and how this should go.
Okay. Thank you so much. And man, these stimulus questions.
I know.
Stimulating the mind right there. Ooh, no, wait.
Stimulating stress.
Okay, next one is my wife left me about 6 years ago to be with someone in Brazil. Oh, man. I have since moved on and prepared the divorce papers for her to sign. However, I cannot find her but through her Facebook. What do I do?
So, we have a very specific process that we do for this. You can file and get divorced, especially if they're non-cooperative, right? I know that she's on Facebook, but typically connection on Facebook is not enough for personal service, which Florida requires. But there is a way to do an affidavit of diligent search to show that you've searched enough, and then you can get your divorce based on that. Again, and a lot of people talk about abandonment. This is a great example of what abandonment looks like, right? Left, went to Brazil. I don't know how to find her. I guess she's on Facebook, but I don't even know if that's still active because we're not Facebook friends, or maybe you are. But there you go. Those are kind of your balance on it. And we have a specific way that we do it and ways that we show the court and build up. I recently had a hearing in front of one of our judges where we needed something, an order on a case, and the husband responded to us sparingly. This was your case, Patricio. The husband responded to us sparingly, but when we said, hey, these are the numbers that we had figured out based on, what came about in the statute, he just stopped responding. But he responded to know when the hearing was. So we did a notice of filing of that email communication, told the judge what happened. They're like, hey, listen, this is telephonic, so his location is irrelevant. You can see here that he agreed to the date and time, and he's non-responsive when we asked him about the numbers. The judge was like, great. The judge actually tried to call him. Actually took out the phone, dialed the number of that person, had our client confirm his phone number and that's the number he responds to. And since he was non-responsive, the judge just entered the order without them. So there are ways you can figure it out. Now that was a post-judgment order that we needed entered, a little bit different than initial service, but yeah, it was, we can find a way. I got you. Give me a call.
Give us a call. Actually, I will put that number up on the board right now. There we go. Right there, 407-900-7451, or go to our website, www.moore-firm.com. We got a few more questions left in tonight's Q&A, and let's go in with the next one. Let me take that. Okay, I am holding on to my kids due to coronavirus because
Why?
because my kid's mother works at a hospital. Now she's refusing to pay child support. What can I do?
Well, time sharing and child support are one does not beget the other, meaning the fact that you pay child support doesn't mean you automatically get time sharing, as you well know from the Department of Revenue, because I know you all watch all my videos, which basically makes you, a lawyer yourself now. And the reverse is not true, right? I'm not paying my child support because you're not giving me time sharing. The courts kind of separate those two items because the children don't cease to be supported because you cease to see them, right? So that's what's considered a self-help remedy and is really not allowed in the courts. So pay the child support. Also, why are you being a jackass and withholding the children? I know she works in a hospital, but that doesn't mean your children are going to get coronavirus. And unless your children are exceedingly immunocompromised, they're safe because our hospital workers know how to take the necessary precautions. Unlike many people who are out in the world, who use the same set of gloves all day, touch the things in the hospital.
Please stop.
Then touch their phone, and then touch their mouth, and or later don't clean their phone or all the things that they touched with their gloves on. I'm like, you defeated the purpose. So wash your hands. That's why soap is such a thing. And don't use gloves. You don't need gloves. Just wash your hands and don't touch your mouth. But also don't withhold your children. You need a break. You deserve a break. Homeschooling's hard. And keep your time sharing. That's what the recommendations of all of our judges are, is maintain your time sharing. Okay? Because this isn't a really great reason to withhold them. And you shouldn't. Because why?
Why? Don't be
petty.
Yes,
Petty Betty.
thank you. Thank you for the question. Now, the next one is, I have a child and my husband adopted my child. We are now getting divorced. Who do I need to put on child support?
All of the children. Once you adopt a child, it is the same as though they were born from you.
From his seed.
So adoption means he is on equal footing to the biological child as far as responsibilities.
Gotcha. So basically, she wouldn't have to go towards her baby daddy. Wow, he got me saying baby daddy. Towards the kid's father, but actually the one who adopted the kids.
Right. So once the child's adopted, the parental rights of the other parent are terminated.
Okay.
So biological father now has no rights to that child, and that really can't be undone.
Got it. Thank you so much for the question. We're down to our last two questions, and here's the second one, the second to last one. I met someone on Tinder and I ghosted her because she was crazy. She messaged me telling me that she tested positive for COVID-19. Do I have any rights if I test positive?
You have the right to go to the hospital and
Yeah.
get tested if you feel ill.
Oh God.
So funny.
I don't even want to oh man.
First of all, you were supposed to be social distancing, so you're at fault. You did this. You did this to yourself. No, there's nothing.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry.
Dang.
Go get tested if you're feeling ill. If you're not feeling ill or it's not that bad, stay the fuck home and away from people.
Mm-hmm.
And, don't be pulling Tinder dates right now.
Don't always be swiping right.
I mean, you all can chat.
Yeah.
From the privacy of your own phones that you clean. You've been wiping your phones down, right? And your hands that you're washing. But no, you shouldn't have gone on the Tinder date. You can't be like, I did something wrong. Can I blame you for it? No, that's the reason. But she might not have COVID-19. She might want your attention.
Could be a crazy card being pulled right there, huh? All right. And our last question for the night. There we go. I'm currently going through a divorce and my wife changed the locks on the house. I can't get in unless she's home. Is there anything I can do?
I mean, all right. Cowboy Aaron, what is Gabby calls me Montana Morse, says change the locks back. But you could file what you should do. Self-help is not advised. Do not do that, right? And that's me being facetious, right? You don't want to, what are you going to do? Change the lock every 3 days? File a motion for enforcement of the standing order if you're in a county that has the standing order, or file a motion, related to dissipation of assets, or file a motion for exclusive use and possession. There are a number of different tactics that you could take related to this.
I'm going to post the comment that just came on the Facebook, and please don't do this, all right? But Nathan Bassett says, break down the door. Break the door down.
There's not a whole lot of legal ramifications she would have if you did that. Now, is that the best thing to do? Like if you have children and they see you do that? Mm-hmm. No, that's some fucking nonsense. And your children are going to be traumatized for that. So don't be a jackass. You really shouldn't be engaging in self-help, but I love it.
Thank you for the comment,
Cowboy
Nathan. All right.
And we have Alexis asked a really good question.
Oh, let's put that up.
What is the legal requirement for a child to be considered adopted per the last question? So the legal requirement, you'll have to go through an adoption proceeding, and it actually has to be signed in court. So you know how sometimes on social media and other places you can see people with a child and a judge, and they're having like punch and cookies in a courtroom? That's usually an adoption proceeding, because they are usually a very happy proceeding, because a child gets a parent. So that's the idea. But you do have to go through the legal process, and in order for them to be considered adopted, first termination of parental rights of the biological parent needs to happen, then official adoption. And you can actually amend birth certificates to reflect this.
You can amend a birth certificate?
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Good to know. And Nathan says I might or might not have been in the same situation. Oh man, Nathan, you need help, bro.
Yeah. So speaking of birth certificates, if you're a dad and you are unwed and you were not put on the birth certificate, when you go through a paternity action, part of what you can do during the paternity action is both change the last name of the child and be added to the birth certificate. And you do that through the vital statistics once you have your final judgment. So if you want to fix that, you can and should. And make sure that you ask for it. It's, again, closed mouth don't get fed. So if you don't ask for it, you can't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an important thing, is making sure that birth certificate is reflective of their parent. But yes, you can amend them, and we do it often.
I'm not even going to post that one. Well, Attorney Morse, thank you so much for giving us your time tonight. Anything you want to say before we close out?
No. I do. I want to mention something. We are up and running without interruption. Our firm has always been a firm that we have a lot of virtual resources. We are cloud-based, we are tech savvy, and we've always used laptops since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had quite a few of my clients, when I speak to them or we had an appointment, they were like, oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to have the appointment because of everything that's going on, and if your office is closed. We're not closed. Our phones work. They're actually, a voice over IP. So we have an application on everybody's cell phone. so that everybody can answer the phone. I can call you back from the firm line. With the text messages that we receive are still going to all the same places, to all the same, to the whole staff, to myself, to everybody. So we've had no interruption in what's going on
Over 30 days.
right now. So, yes, Nathan, we can amend that to be born in Mexico. It's a great idea. Probably not insulting to individuals who are of Latin descent.
And running the damn broadcast.
Yeah. Like perhaps the fella right there. But you could always just like work hard. You don't need to be Mexican to do that.
You brought that upon yourself, Nathan.
But yeah, our firm, we have no interruptions. We have access to our emails. We have, we are recently opening up the abilities to have our Zoom hearings. So if something is pressing on you, or you want to get your divorce started, or you want to move your case forward, reach out to us, because we are finding the capability of, we're finding the capability to do that and to get that done, right? So if you need us, we're here. Our judges in a lot of our counties, again, are now opening up their access to courts for evidentiary issues and having them heard via Zoom or telephonically, or we're getting creative and we're making it happen. So if you have these needs, part of why we're doing these Q&As, so people are not, stuck in this nether world of nothingness. Now, a lot of our hearings got canceled, so we are working on rescheduling those. So, thanks, Carlos. It's been a long time. So, that's what we have going on. We're here to help you. We can help you. Everything on our part is cloud-based. You are not going to need to come to our office and sign a document and slip it under the door. We can handle it all virtually. You can sign it right from your documents and the tablets and your smartphones and all of it. We'll make it happen for you.
Awesome. Attorney Morris, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And as always, the information provided on this live Q&A does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. Instead, all information, content, and materials available in this live Q&A are for general informational purposes only. The information on this live Q&A may not constitute the most up-to-date legal or other information. Viewers of this live Q&A should contact the attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular legal issue. No listener, user, or browser of this site should act or refrain from acting on the basis of the information on this live Q&A without first seeking legal advice from counsel in the relevant jurisdiction. Only an individual attorney can provide assurances that the information contained herein and your interpretation of it is applicable or appropriate to your particular situation. Use of and access to this live Q&A or any of the links or resources contained within the site does not create an attorney-client relationship between the listener, user, or browser and website authors, contributors, contributing law firms, or community members and their respective employers. The views expressed at or through this live Q&A are those of the individual inquirer in their individual capacities only and the law office of Aaron Morse. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the content of this live Q&A are hereby expressly disclaimed. The content on this posting is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free.
Oh, look at that.
Whew.
1 minute and 102.
102, beautiful. And once again, guys, thank you so much for listening. We will see you guys next week, same time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna try to post these up, all of them, to YouTube.
Yes,
So
yes, I am working on that.
Yeah, if you want to look at some of the older broadcasts and what's been going on with that, I'm gonna try to keep those up to date.
And we have your PSA up there as well.
Yeah.
And other and check out our Instagram, check out our Facebook. We've been posting a lot of cool stuff lately, and 1 or 2 things may have gone viral.
Maybe. My mom got a funny screenshot from a friend that was, way across the country, and she was like, "Isn't this your daughter?" That was cool. So,
Keep sending that love. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next week.